WHBQ Memphis and W253DF Memphis, Flynn Broadcasting Stations. It's time for Wolo and Friends on Sports 56, presented by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here's your host, the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin.
Welcome in, everybody, to Orlando, but the story around the country may have been what happened at FedEx Forum. Please take down Steph and the Golden State Warriors. Now they've won 10 in a row, and they've got a share of the third seed in the Western Conference. We're halfway through the season, and the Grizzlies, I think, have not darlings of the NBA world. We're not halfway through the college basketball season yet, but we don't have any undefeated teams anymore. Baylor and USC both lost yesterday, so I think this year is up for grabs. Could we get another new number one next week? Some pollsters have Auburn in, Bruce Pearl's team, which beat Alabama last night. A close game, good game. But Auburn could become the next new number one. Tigers against UCF, and as I look from my bedroom, I'm watching Alo, and I think it's John Camden, that are using the swimming pool for some sort of rehabbing process. Of course, Camden is being redshirted, but Alo has had that bad ankle, and many speculate actually is doing rehab in the swimming pool. The Tigers hoping to win for the fifth time in 6 games tonight against UCF. And this, my friend Jay Morgan Harder, is a quad one opportunity because in the net, and it's a road game, and you get up to 75 with that. Number 62. What a night, though, for the Grizzlies last evening. And this story just keeps getting better and better and better. First of all, Taylor Jenkins isn't there. Brad Jones isn't even the head coach this time. They move his first time to get an NBA win. He's the coach against Steve Kerr and the mighty Golden State Warriors. It was 1 versus 2 in the NBA rankings, which is cool in its own right. Last time there was a 1 versus 2 showdown in when the Tigers were number 1 and the University of Tennessee was number 2. So that's cool right there. The Grizzlies make it, as always, a team effort. 6 guys in doubles figures. Ja the star, 29 points, 5 rebounds, with 8 assists. But Tyus Jones scored a whole bunch in this game. I don't know if that was Rajakovic's decision or if that came from Taylor Jenkins in the background. They play them together. 2 big threes toward the end of the game for Ty. 17 points and 8 assists. Another triple-double for Triple J. He's got to get more rebounds. He had 13 and 11 and 3 blocks. But maybe Jay Morgan, Zaire Williams has to be mentioned. He has double figures in this game, 17 points. But he played amazing defense, running all around the ballpark, trying to slow down Steph Curry. Now, Steph did get a triple-double, but he was, I believe, 9 of 21 from 3. 9's a lot, but he took a lot of shots. So, I'm sorry, I don't think it was that many.
That was from the field.
Was not 9 of 21 from the field.
Right.
Range. 2 of 9 from three-point range. That's because he and Anthony Melton, he and Bane both had poor offensive games, but Melton helped out. Williams was terrific. And the Grizzlies, in this 10-game win streak, They have beaten the best. They have beaten Brooklyn. They have beaten Phoenix. They have beaten the Lakers, and they've beaten the Clippers, both in Los Angeles. And then they come home and knock off the number one team, Golden State. That is amazing. 20 of 24. They have Minnesota and Dallas on Thursday and Friday. Who knows how long this thing will continue? The bottom line is no one's this quick. And all of a sudden, and I've been saying this now for a couple of weeks, we're halfway through the year. You have to consider the Grizzlies as a threat to win the West and do it this year, even with the future that looks so bright. I think the future is here.
I totally agree. They're an unbelievable team, and they played really well. And Zaire Williams is a guy, if I could out myself a little bit, I'm still not totally sold on the way he plays, but last night was a huge step for me in terms of seeing clearly he is smart enough to play both ends of the floor for 30-plus minutes in a game, and that's it doesn't get much higher level than that other than being one of the perennial all-stars. So that was a great game for him for sure.
Well, this goes back to my sports person of the year and the collaboration with Taylor Jenkins, your sports person of the year, but Zach Kleiman. I mean, I honestly thought that Zaire Williams was a bust. He would become this player. And if he did, I thought it would be after spending some time as a two-way guy and playing at the Landers Center. And my goodness, look what he is producing. He can shoot a lot better than I ever figured. He does go inside on occasion, too. And, I mean, that was really something. I don't know. When does this thing end? Does it end against Dallas, who, by the way, they've won 6 in a row? Even Minnesota has been hot of late. When will this streak come to an end? And apparently, obviously, I was in Orlando last night, Jay Morgan, but they say a true sellout and really loud and especially pleasurable to listen to when the boos kept coming down on Andre Iguodala, who, of course, spurned the Grizz.
Yeah, it was a huge 18,000 in the seats last night. A few Warriors fans, but I think Eli made an excellent point that that's not really indicative of who likes the Grizzlies and who doesn't. That's just really the way people watch the NBA nowadays. It's a superstar-driven league. People are going to enjoy the experience, whether they cheer for the Grizzlies or not, watching other teams' superstars. And I think 18,000, whether they're wearing Warriors jerseys or not, that is a true Grizzly sellout, and you got to be happy if you're a Memphis fan or a Memphis resident.
And apparently it was kind of cute at the end when Ja makes a big play, and there's a young kid in a jersey that is not Memphis's. It's the Warriors. And he stared the kid down. I think he then gave him a high five because the kid wanted a high five from him. And then when he was asked about it, he goes, hey, kid was disrespecting us. He's got to get a Memphis jersey. And then somebody said something, and he said, you know what, I'll get the info. I'll send the kid a Grizzlies jersey. And that was cute, and it just keeps adding charisma, this attraction that the country is having now for Ja.
Absolutely. And he might be an NBA All-Star, certainly if he isn't voted on by fans, which I think he's third right now for guards, so he's right on the cusp. But even if he's not voted in,
he may catch Luka.
Yeah, he's coming up there.
Luka.
He's coming up there, so he's having a great. It's just fun to watch the Grizzlies being so successful after a couple years of rebuilding.
Yeah. All right. So yesterday, Joe Judge became the 5th NFL football coach to get fired since the season came to an end. Then Black Monday, that was on Sunday. On Monday, Nagy and Zimmer and Brian Flores all went. Now Joe Judge has gone. Many think Bisaccia's going to go. We don't know about Cully at Houston. Interesting job. They rated, and I want your input on this, they rated the top jobs that will or could be open. And so it goes sort of like this. They think Bisaccia is going to get fired. So they think Vegas is the best job that is out there for a coaching candidate. They think Denver is 2. Your Dolphins, where Flores, I think, got robbed, is 3. The Bears 4, Minnesota 5, the Giants the 6th, and the Jags for any incoming NFL coach. I think that's hard to argue.
I think
maybe Miami better than Denver. That's the only one I could think of because Denver doesn't truly have a quarterback. I don't know how good Miami's quarterbacks really are either. But I think that.
Yeah, it definitely goes between Denver and Miami, but and as good as Miami's defense is, their offensive line in every offensive metric is the last in the league. So easily the worst offensive line in the NFL, and that's a huge factor too. But I think it's hard to dispute if Las Vegas opens up, that's the top one, and then Denver and Miami close behind.
You know, I think Bisaccia deserves the job, don't you? Here's a guy who's been a lifer, who has, it seems to be he'd be a Mark Davis kind of a guy just by his appearance and demeanor. And after they struggled and you had to fire John Gruden, I mean, I think that's an amazing performance. I know he's got a great quarterback in Carr, and they've got some tools, but you still have to have a leader. I think Bisaccia has earned the job. They may want to go after Harbaugh. Harbaugh rumored odds on all these jobs, and some people have Harbaugh going to the Bears. I think Bisaccia, though, really deserves to stay in Vegas.
I think you're right. What do you think of? I am a huge proponent of Harbaugh to the Bears, but it seems like not John, but Jim specifically, whenever he's involved, people kind of tire of his shtick pretty quickly. How, as a Bears fan, how would you receive the idea of Jim Harbaugh going to the Bears as the head coach?
Well, it's always hard to hire a legend. That these things usually end. Now, it's a different kind of road for Harbaugh because, first of all, Jim was a good quarterback, not a great quarterback there. And Jim has had a great deal of success as a coach in both college and in the NFL. So you don't debate his credentials. So those are the positives. The thing is, I want the coach that can best develop the quarterback. So is that the OC in New England? I'm trying to remember all the different names that were coming out because he's not even on the Bears list, to be honest with you. There was another one that is a developer of quarterbacks whose name I don't remember. I guess I'm warming more to it because it does seem to be more and more that is where the Bears will go. Who knows? Because Harbaugh probably has his pick if indeed he does leave. What more can he prove there? And they didn't treat him all that well. They cut his salary in half. There was. You can't please these people half the time. And there's another case of when you go home, you don't get, it never ends in a great way. But I'm ambivalent about him. My thing for the Bears is this: get the guy who can develop Justin Fields, because that is absolutely the future. In the meantime, which gets us to what we normally do on Tuesdays, but since we had Archie Manning on yesterday, we moved it to today. It's a compilation of the crazy things, sometimes, or pertinent things, that coaches and players speak after. We call it the inane things that players and coaches will say.
Man, we got a lot of warts, but we're here.
What's that saying, right? We didn't come this far, only come this far.
I don't care about records. All I care about is wins.
Is it good enough? No. But you can't think the things you're doing good aren't good enough because other things aren't good enough.
I don't anticipate doing anything other than the things that we need to do to go forward.
We just could not run the ball very well. It was tough sledding.
In the midst of the storm, we were able to stay the course.
A lot of circumstances they've handled without blinking.
Everybody else gets a little tight. He's the same guy.
Nobody at the end of careers looks back and really figures out how many times you won your division. You know, it's great, it's fine. The hats and shirts are cool.
You know, last year's team took on a certain identity because of the journey they had, and then this year's team is taking on a different identity because of the journey that we've been on this year.
Man, we're looking for a gritty team. Guys that are resilient, guys that are willing to lay it on the line.
This football team has always played hard. We haven't always played smart, but we've played hard.
In this league, especially in our division, I mean, there's a lot of great football teams.
There's a lot of realism to everything.
I know that we're closer than we are further away.
I think anything's possible.
There's only one team every year, no matter what the results are, that has a happy ending to their season.
Yeah, that's why I hate that we're not in the tournament, because he's one of the best players in the NFL. And I hate that he's not in the tournament competing against the best players in the NFL.
You're in the National Football League. It's high stakes, guys. Every game's important.
As I say every year to the team, the last 3 years and now this year, you know, every NFL team is different.
Your record is what it says it is.
It is what it is. We're ready to go wherever, against whoever.
You can't feel sorry for yourself. You got to move on and learn from your mistakes and take the positives and then look at the negatives too. You can't just brush the negatives under the rug.
I'm appreciative of our quarterback, QB1. He's been smiling in the face of adversity for 18 years, and so even though it's not surprising, it's still appreciated.
That was Mike Tomlin at the very end, who also was the one, when referring to his quarterback, Big Ben, basically said, I love the way he did it, by the way, when he said something to the effect of when everybody gets tight.
He has another octave I didn't know about.
Yeah, that was cute. I found it interesting, Jay Morgan, you used every coach that got fired. It was Zimmer who says, I don't care about records, all I care about wins. Well, you didn't get enough of them. Vic Fangio says, is it good enough? No. Well, he to the quarterback of the coaches to get let go. Joe Judge, I guess trying as hard as he could to justify where they were. He goes, I know we're closer than we are further away. Of course, that did not work out for him at all. Matt Nagy, I guess, philosophical. There's a lot of realism to everything. Well, and the realism there is that it was not enough for Bears fans or for the McCaskies in the end. And the final one that I thought was interesting was Brandon Staley. He says, that's why I hate that we're not in the he's talking about his quarterback, and I hate he's not in the tournament competing against the best players in the NFL. Well, if you hadn't called a timeout, you'd be in the tournament. That is still, to me, the biggest strategic bonehead play of the year in the National Football League.
There's so many coaches. I had to give them a swan song, Dave. If they're going to be out and we're going to be out of our lives for at least the time being, I wanted to give them a swan song.
All right, so of those 5 coaches that are now gone, and David Culley, by the way, who says this football team always played hard, haven't always played smart, but we've played hard. Storm, I think he has. I don't think they're going to let him go.
I hope not. I really hope not. And that's genuine, too. As much as I like to joke around with these coaches, I really think he deserves another year. I think that team plays really hard. And I think that's why I use that quote, which I don't usually use quotes that usually tell the truth about a football team, but I think that describes the Texans pretty well this year. So I hope he gets another shot.
By the way, if Brian Flores, who is in the odds for the Bears job, would you become a Bears fan if your coach, who was unceremoniously and should not have been cut by your Dolphins, would?
I'm really just looking for an excuse to become a Bears fan, so maybe so. Actually, yes.
Ah! I'll hold you to that if that indeed becomes the case. We are busy today, as we always are. Our good friend Brett Norsworthy, we got to sort of recap the and a whole lot more. We can get into a bunch of. Hey, I was sort of saddened today. John Lester retiring. I got to get Stats' take on John Lester. This is interesting. He's one of 9 lefties who have 200 wins. He's got in postseason 2.51, but it's under 4. In the modern era, lefties with those numbers, 6 of the 8 are in the Hall of Fame. I always think the guy couldn't make the throw to first base. Should he be in the Hall of Fame? I can't wait to see if in 5 years stats thing to the Hall of Fame for baseball. And then Jarvis Greer from Action News 5 will join us to end the show at about 10:42, 10:45, somewhere in that ballpark. You know our title sponsor for this program. It's always our good friends from Homer. Homer's, you never pay more. That's the truth. You will pay right about sticker price. You never pay more than that. And there are other guys that may be charging more. Why wouldn't you go to the place where they've set the standard for the way car business should be done? That's Chris True and all the gang. And Homer Skelton Hyundai, you find them at Highway 78. That's Lamar and the first exit in Mississippi Craft Road. Make a left, you're there. Homer Skelton Hyundai. And we'll let you know the floor model sale continues. That's what's happening at Family Leisure. These are the products that have been out so everybody could look at them. Now, they're still perfect. They haven't been used. I mean, they're perfect. But because the 2022 stuff is coming in, the folks at Family Leisure, Lindsay, Billy, all those folks are saying, you know what, we got to move this stuff. Move. But here's the deal. Once a floor model is gone, it's gone. It doesn't come back. There's no more extra sale. So get there while you can and get opportunities on everything from all the arcade games to even hot tubs and pools. You cannot beat Family Leisure and the floor model sale going road. We pause for a second. Brad Norsworthy right around the corner.
We are Sports 56 WHBQ. Listen to us daily on 560 AM and 98.5 FM, as well as around the world at sports56whbq.com or on the Sports 56 app.
Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
I'm Brian Elder, 867-0303. Hurricane season is upon us. Is your roof ready? Are your shingles laying down and sealed properly? Call me right now, 867-0303. They say you get what you pay for. That's why my opinion is free. Maybe you've got years of life left in your roof. If so, I'll tell you that. But if I find storm damage or a compromised roof system, I'll lay out some options for you. Don't let them tell you it needs to be replaced if it only needs a repair. Call me, 867-0303. Has your insurance company already seen it and rejected your claim? Maybe they're correct. Most of the time, they're not. They do tend to become more reasonable once I get involved, though. 867-0303. I'll measure your roof from outer space or BrianElderRoofing.com.
Call 867-0303. Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
Hi, everyone. Greg Gaston for FanDuel. Wild Card weekend in the NFL just got wilder. FanDuel Sportsbook is hooking new customers up with 30-1 enhanced odds. That means you can bet $5 to win $150 on any team to win any wild card game. Just sign up for FanDuel Sportsbook and make a deposit to claim your 30-1 enhanced odds. Already have FanDuel Sportsbook? FanDuel is hooking all customers up with $50 when you refer a friend. Plus, your friend will get $50 as well. Just download the FanDuel Sportsbook app using promo code GASMAN and pick your wildcard team before kickoff. You must be 21 or over and present in Tennessee. New users only. $10 first deposit is required. Must wager in designated offer market. Max bonus $150. Bonus for Tennessee users fulfilled in site credit within 72 hours. Tennessee site credit expires 14 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See full terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. If you have a gambling problem, call Tennessee Redline at 1-800-889-9789.
Choate's Air Conditioning, Heating, and Plumbing is now currently hiring all positions. If you're ready to take your career to the next level, please apply today. Choate's is offering huge sign-on bonuses to seasoned technicians, plumbers, installers, and air duct cleaners. At Choate's Air Conditioning, Heating, and Plumbing, we offer a career, not just a job, by putting you in a paid training program to develop your technical and customer service skills to best serve our customers. Choate's offers top pay in the Mid-South, weekly pay, paid vacation and holidays, company matching retirement account, health, dental, vision, and life insurance, and Christmas, Thanksgiving, and birthday bonuses. If this sounds like an exciting opportunity for you, then we should talk. So call us at 347-8086 or apply online at choateshvac.com under the careers link. Come, join our family.
Listen Sundays at 11 a.m. to join Idlewild Presbyterian Church for worship. Idlewild is a PCUSA church located in Midtown Memphis.
I know the sweetest thing in Memphis, and I know it's been around for 115 years. You know, I'm talking about Dinstall's, and it's time to stock up heavy on Cashew Crunch, Heavenly Crunch, Turtlettes, all of your favorite Dinstall's treats. So easy to get. The sweetest thing in Memphis, all you have to do is head to Laurelwood or head to Germantown and Poplar right across from the hospital, or go where they make the candies. That's on Pleasant View. There's nothing that says Memphis better than Cashew Crunch with that little tinge of coconut, or the Turtlettes. Let's face it, there's nothing better than Dinstall's chocolate. That's the mainstay of all candies, isn't it? Milk, chocolate, although their dark chocolate is pretty darn good. And if you get the peppermint with the dark chocolate and put it in the freezer, you're going to love it. So many ways to love Dinstall's. Stock up heavy on all of your favorite Dinstall's treats. 115 years of making Memphis oh so sweet.
Do you know one of the best things you can do for your employees or family's health? Provide Arctic Clear bottled water. Arctic Clear bottled water is your locally owned and operated bottled water provider. Arctic Clear is 100% natural spring water with free delivery and setup, dependable service, and no long-term contracts. What an easy choice. Call Jeff Manus today, 901-382-2363, or visit arctic-clear.com. Arctic Clear bottled water. Call now, 382-2363. That's 382-2363.
Now, back to Wolo and Friends on Sports 56, presented by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here once again, it's the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin.
Welcome back to Orlando. What a night in FedEx Forum. Should be a fun night for the Tigers here in Orlando. UCF's incredible. It really is. The more I think about it, it's 70,000. He gave them land. They only use about 25-30% of it. At this point, they could grow even bigger. It's become a great story. And they don't shout in their notes like Cincinnati did about going to the Big 12, but I'm certain they're pretty proud of all of that. For me to bring on my buddy Brett Norsworthy. Stats, that was quite the college football playoff championship. I don't think I ever thought in the fourth quarter I would see Georgia just manhandle Alabama, but basically that's what their offensive line did. When teams win championships, it usually starts in the trenches.
Yeah, it started up front with Matt Luke's offensive line. Congratulations to Matt and Ashley Luke. I know they're very proud of the job that Matt's doing at Georgia, and Georgia was the better team. And they, as Coach Saban, in the post-game congratulations to Kirby Smart, he said it. He said, y'all kicked your hind ends in the fourth quarter, and Georgia did. Stetson Bennett had looked as wobbly as you can look for most of that game until the heroic fourth quarter, and now his life is set. He's getting ready to enjoy the next 40 years that Buck Blues enjoyed the last 40 years.
Yeah. I hope so. The kid, that's a great story, isn't it, really? I mean, come on. Went there because he loved the school, couldn't really make it, left to go to Jones Junior College in Mississippi, comes back, beats out a guy that's supposed to be a five-star blue-chip NFL prospect, and wins a national title. They
also beat out the quarterback that ended up at Temple this year, Stetson Bennett just really been steady for him, Dave.
Mm-hmm. All right, so the television ratings are in, and the numbers were up from a year ago by COVID and everything else. They had like 16 million for the championship game last year. This year, Georgia and Alabama, 22.2 million. That's good that it's up. Still the second lowest. The best ever was Oregon and Ohio State in 2015, early in the process, and that was 34.2 million. Does college football need to expand just to fix everything?
I don't know that it fixes the ratings. I think it brings in more teams that feel like early in the early bowls that they're involved. But the biggest thing about the championship game is I wish it was played on the day that college football is actually played on a Saturday. Play it at 7 o'clock on a Saturday night and spend all day in the run-up for all the various networks, all the ESPN outlets or whatever network that would carry it, covering the tailgate, covering the build-up to a traditional Saturday of college football. I think the second Monday night of the new year, a lot of people, and there is some fatigue with the SEC and with Alabama, but I think a lot of that also is Monday night. It's back to work time. I don't think people are as locked in, but it had a good rating, and college football ratings. You got to remember, 22 million viewers. No other sport gets that other than the NFL. No baseball World Series gets that. No NBA. The average for the NBA Finals is around 5 million viewers. So for the national championship game, college football was 4 times the NBA average for its finals.
Well, and to take that a step further, on Friday I'm going to have Steve Earhart on, sort of to put a bow on the college football season and the bowl season, and they're really pleased because the AutoZone Liberty Bowl ended up getting over 4 million viewers. That's considered a major victory. So the 22.2, is not anything to sneeze at. I would be concerned when the Zenith was 34 million. I'm with you though. The last time I think the New Year's Eve part of it for the semifinals, which weren't great, comes into play as well. So I'd avoid New Year's Eve, and I'm with you on the Monday night. I'm in step. I still think for college would mean you would bring more teams in and recruiting would get better because let's face it, you're looking at about 6 schools right now. If you're a serious kid that wants to really play for a national championship, it's not just going to the NFL. You love college football. You want to play. All you have to do is look at history, and there's about 6 teams, and that's it. If you did increase to 12 per se, I think it would change the way a lot of the recruiting is done.
No, we've been hearing that trap door on changing and recruiting on everything from 25 person classes to 85 max to immediate eligibility when you want to transfer now to NIL. We've been hearing for 40 years if we do this or that in recruiting, then it's going to level the field and the same teams dominate. Alabama, Penn State, Oklahoma, USC, Miami, LSU, Auburn, those teams aren't just going to gently fade away if you had a 29-team bracket. I think all we're going to do and we're going to do it, and that's fine. More football's fine with me. We're going to increase the bracket, and we're going to have more blowouts, and the same teams are going to be there holding the championship trophy at the end.
Agree. I think if you had 12 teams in, first of all, you'd have buys, so those first games on paper, to me, would be more competitive, and I just think there'd be a buildup, and I do think you would get more distribution of athletic talent. I think it'd be great. We'll see. I hope it does happen. Question for you, switching things here to baseball, your true, most passionate love. John Lester, who ended his career in a St. Louis Cardinal uniform, but really his glory years were with Boston and Chicago. 16 years, 200 wins, 3 World Series titles, 5 All-Stars. 5 years from now, is he in the Baseball Hall of Fame?
I don't know if he gets in that first year, Dave, in 5 years. It might even be an exaggerated wait for John Lester, but I think he was one of the stars of the game, one of the preeminent stars of the game in his era when he played. Now, a guy like Jim Cott that had to wait so long, a guy like Tommy John that is still waiting, Burt Blyleven that had to wait so long, they had a lot more wins, but they were stars of the game when they played, and I don't think they were as big a star when they played as John Lester was when he played. So I think he gets in, but I don't know if it's in that first year in 5 years, but I think at some point he gets in, I think that there's a place at Cooperstown for him, because during his years he was must-watch TV for baseball fans and led two franchises that before John Lester showed up, they weren't associated with winning World Series.
He's the curse breaker. It's Lester. I'm with you. I mean, first of all, he's a workhorse, right? 30 starts, 12 times. 30 starts 12 times in an era where, starters don't. If they got a fingernail. Last year, and he was clearly a lot older and not as good. He had 28 starts with Washington and St. Louis.
Yeah.
He won 60% of the time. What now?
He was pretty good down the stretch for the Cardinals.
ERA in postseason, 2.51. I mean, those kinds of numbers. Somebody broke this down. I thought it was beautiful, and I mentioned it a little earlier. He's the 9th lefty to have those kinds of numbers that we're talking about, with an ERA under 4, 200 wins, and success. But 6 of those, now 9, so 6 of the 8 up to this point have made it into the Hall. So you got to figure he'll get in, but I'm with you. I don't think he will get in right
Dave,
off the bat.
You mentioned jokingly about players with hangnails. Remember, John Lester had very serious health maladies and came back from those to have a very productive career.
You know what, though? Here's the only thing, and I think he belongs in, and I love him. Everybody that was on any team talks about him being the ultimate teammate, the guy that cared about himself, kept in shape, but also cared about the team, did anything he could to help. So I truly appreciate that, but I cannot help thinking that if you hit a ground ball to him, he couldn't make the throw to first. That just always bugs me.
And he couldn't hold a runner on, but gosh, just think if he could have done those two things.
Oh, my God. Yeah. I mean, absolutely crazy. Okay, so baseball, union and executives getting together, I think, tomorrow to talk. What will happen, Brett Norsworthy?
I think they walk in and both tell the other side, up yours, and I think this is theater. We know, Dave, what gets the deal done, and it's the deadline. And we're not approaching the deadline. With every passing day, though, we are getting closer to one, but I think tomorrow is just kind of marking turf, and both sides will posture. You can get ready for the release of the statement from both sides of very little was accomplished. We look forward to the next meeting. Now, with every passing day, the next meeting becomes more important, because we know in about a month is when pitchers and catchers would start to filter into spring training sites, middle of February, later February. And we have to give those guys time to get ready. The position players, they can probably get ready pretty quickly and play for the traditional start around April 1st on opening day. But those pitchers have to have run time, and you can't rush it, because if we did, we could have a Titanic disaster of injured pitchers if we tried to rush them.
And sometimes they don't come back. That is very, very scary. I'm with you on that. Last thing, since we were talking about baseball, I can't help but think about both of one of our favorite announcers, Jack Buck. I can't believe what I just saw. I can't believe what I'm watching with these Grizzlies. Dave,
it was something. It was something last night to be in the building, to feel that energy. And it's everything we always dreamed of. We dreamed of a preeminent superstar. Well, we have one, and he's 22 years old, and he's got plenty of pieces around him. We got a young team that we can watch grow before our very eyes. And why not Memphis? Why not us?
Well, I think that's been answered. I think it's here. I think the next, 5 to 10 years, really, if you look at this team and the accumulation of draft picks that they've got coming still, and that's without making any new deals. I don't think they should make any deals at this particular moment. Kyle Anderson's awfully important. He seems to be the biggest piece of trade bait. I wouldn't do anything. I mean, it's going to be fun, and I do think starting to run, this could be the greatest February and March in the history of Memphis stadiums. How about that?
Bring it on, Dave. You nailed it. You told me on New Year's Eve afternoon when we were eating lunch in New Orleans that you had Zach Kleiman as your sports person, newsmaker of the year locally. That was so smart and out of the box. Way to go. You nailed it because he is, and he may get it again this year.
I finally got one because if you look at my picks this year, oh, boy, Brett. Oh, boy. Thank you, my friend, as always. I'll talk with you next Wednesday right here.
You got it, Dave. Nail it tonight. Thank you, man.
Thank you. That is Brett Norsworthy, brought to you in part by Old Dominic. Oh, yeah. That's a fun place to go. These are great people. If you want to ever learn and watch somebody who's a master of their master distiller, Alex Castle. She's amazing. And whether you fancy an old-fashioned or you want to try a flight of Old Dominic products, you could head to their bar. They've got this really great place. It's a great way to finish out a night in style at the bar at Old Dominic, right there on 305 South Front Spirits. You can get, if you fancy an old-fashioned, you can do that. You can get any kind of thing, and all the product comes from the Old Dominic Distillery, and they have expert mixologists. It's a cool bar. Again, it's very elegant, yet not stuffy. And their thing about Old Dominic, they got distillery tours with tastings at the end of a 45-minute sensory journey. Go to olddominic.com. You'll learn more about it. We'll take our final timeout. When we come back, Jarvis Greer from Action News 5 will join us then.
The all-new Sports 56 Mornings with Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy. Brought to you by Action 24/7, James Gaddis Jewelers, and Acura of Memphis. Weekday mornings from 7 to 10 right here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Belly Acres' motto is City-Fied Farm Fresh. The goal is simple: provide a fun, unique farm-to-table experience for the whole family. Two great locations, Regalia at 6130 Poplar and in Overton Square at 2102 Trimble Place. Overton Square hours Sunday through Thursday 11A to 9P, Friday and Saturday 11A to 10P. Regalia Sunday through Thursday 10:30 a.m. to 9 p.m. and Friday and Saturday 10:30 a.m. to 11 p.m. Signature burgers are made from 100% grass-fed beef. Sandwiches, salads, and the best milkshakes anywhere. The burgers, so good, like the Daria or the Double Daria, and the melt in your mouth. And you have to try the Voodoo Moo Moo. It is the quality brand the Belly Acres team has developed using grass-fed beef with creative homemade toppings in a fun farm setting right here in the city. The goal at Belly Acres, to become even more sustainable as they grow. In Overton Square and in Regalia, the very best quality available in Memphis, burger shakes and smiles at Belly Acres.
Hi, folks. Bill Russell at Russell Brothers Fine Jewelers, and I want to thank all of you who came to see us at Russell Brothers so that Christmas would be special for your lady. Thank you so much for the confidence and trust that so many of you have placed in Russell Brothers for over 37 years, and we're going to work even harder in 2022 to let you know how important you are. Whether you just need an $8 battery or a $20,000 diamond ring, you will receive the very best in beauty, quality, service, and value. Our exquisite gemstones, our fashionable designs, our huge array of fine jewelry will dazzle you and will help make you a hero in her eyes. Our warmest wish for you is a healthy and prosperous 2022, and when you want to let her know how very extraordinary she is, we invite you to come and see us at Russell Brothers Fine Jewelers, 4646 Poplar at Perkins. After all, doesn't she deserve the very best?
Are you overworked and underpaid in that employment rut with no promotion in sight, or did you just lose your job? Then you need to contact the experts at ProResume. Go to ProResume.biz or call 685-1950, the fastest way to a new job.
Visit Frontier Western Store today for new shirts, boots, and more. Frontier continues to add new items in their women's boutique. Flare jeans and pants are in, and Frontier is fully stocked. There are daily arrivals with thousands of on-trend tops as well, all at amazing prices. And guys, Frontier is your #1 Carhartt store. No one has a larger selection of everyday fits and workwear by Carhartt. Wrangler and Area clothing available too. Have you seen Frontier's remodeled and expanded world-famous boots showroom? Now there are even more dress and work boots in stock. There are over 1,000 pair of Ariat boots and thousands more by Dan Post, Corral, Durango, Rocky, and Twisted X. Frontier recently added Hey Dude shoes with lots more on the way. As if the selection isn't reason enough, Frontier's pricing is lower than online and chain stores. So when you're ready for your next pair, you know just the local shop to visit. Frontier Western Store, 5880 Goodman Road in Olive Branch, and on the web at frontierwesternstore.com. Locally owned and operated since 1967.
Now, back to Wolo and Friends on Sports 56, presented by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here once again is the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin.
Oh, yeah, this program is brought to you by Homer. You won't pay more than sticker at Homer Skelton Hyundai in Olive Branch. Other guys may be charging more. If they are, why don't you go to the place that has set the bar, Homer Skelton Hyundai? Let me apologize. You have this cool thing. This is technology, right? Sometimes this is what happens with live radio, too. So I've got this app. It makes my phone almost like a board, and there's a thing called the tie line with the station, and it should sound like I'm in the station. And sometimes it works. Sometimes, apparently, the Wi-Fi here in Orlando is not as great as it should be. It did not. So I apologize for breaking up during the segment with my good friend Stats Norsworthy. We thank you for bearing with all of that. Jarvis Greer, right around the corner, brought to you in part by Conway Services, heating, cooling, plumbing, electric, and the free furnace. That's right, it's free furnace time. January's the slowest month of the year. The warehouse is full. The crews are slow. John's pulling his hair out, trying to figure out ways to get business. And a few years ago, he decided to give away, in these cold winter months, a free furnace, an 80% Carrier gas furnace free if you get a standard but state-of-the-art air conditioning system from Carrier. That's right, you get a free furnace if you buy a Carrier air conditioning system from Conway in the month of January. And John's always enticing with more. How about an April Air Cleaner? Throws that into the mix, a 10-year parts warranty, a free Nest thermostat. That's about $2,000 in savings. And you can get the new system for as low as $139 a month or 12 months interest-free. Anybody could do that. All you got to do is call 384-3511, 384-3511. Conway Services. From Action News 5, I believe, when you look at Q ratings and all of that, the most watched, best-known sports guy in all of Memphis. That is Jarvis Greer. Good morning, my friend. How are you?
Thanks, Wilson. How are you doing, buddy? How's everything in Memphis? It's a great day to be a Memphian, isn't it?
It is. It is a spectacular day. No doubt about that because of what occurred last night. I'm sure, at least for a while, you were inside FedEx Forum. So talk to me a little bit about that atmosphere.
Yeah, it's just incredible. It is incredible. You talk about playoff atmosphere with the Warriors in town, with Klay Thompson back for Golden State, and the way that the Grizzlies have been playing lately. And then they crank up in the fourth quarter. Like, man, here we are. It's January. Everything's revved up and hotter than it's ever been this early in the season. Hotter than ever this early in the season.
Hey, Jarvo, are you on speakerphone? Because if so, we could probably improve the quality of that connection. I'm one to speak.
No.
My technical problems.
I'm speaking to you on a direct line.
Wow.
I'm not on speaker. I am.
Okay.
I don't know what to tell you.
So it was magical, that's for sure. And you know, the future is here right now. This team is certainly capable of matching the best run in Memphis NBA history, and that is a Western Conference Finals. Don't you think this team can get there?
Well, if you look at it, look who all they've beaten. They have the most wins over teams with a better than 500 record or 500 better in the NBA so far this year with 17. And that's not even close, by the way. And they've beaten all of the top teams in the league. The only one, and they're getting a chance to get the top team in the East on Monday on MLK Day when the Bulls come to town. But they've beaten every other team that has either been at or near the top in the NBA in both the East and the West. So you know, what did you say? I mean, hey, the proof's in the pudding. I mean, they're winning, and they're winning. Now, it's a COVID year still. Everybody's missing players here and there, but if you look at who the Grizzlies have missed compared to who the other teams have missed, you say, hey, when you get a full roster, it doesn't matter who they play. They're out to beat them. So some people are saying, well, are they equipped to play in the postseason? Yeah, we know now they can play in the regular season. Well, let's see. You know, it'll be fun to see how they do. But I think they've got the players to do it. You know, they played Golden State, San Antonio, and Golden State in the play-ins last year and beat them. And then they had the series with Utah. It was a tough series. But, you know, this is a different series. This is a different team now. It's made up a little bit differently after the trade of they traded to get Steven Adams for him. You know what I'm talking about. They traded him to New Orleans. And he was a fan favorite. And And that made it tough, you know, to take. It's really played out because they got Dr. Williams off the back end of the trade, you know, able to move up in the draft to get him. And look how he's working out now if he had a chance to sit out and actually watch the other game is played. So I'd say they're as ready to roll as anybody. I mean, wouldn't you?
I do. You mentioned in this 10-game win streak, and I think they've won 20 of their last 24. But in this 10-game win streak, they have beaten Brooklyn, Phoenix, the Clips, and the Lakers, both in Los Angeles. Now they knock off the top team in Golden State. They've got Minnesota, Dallas, and Chicago coming up. If they win 13 in a row, Minnesota has been hot. Dallas has won like 6 in a row. They can't catch the Grizzlies, though, because the Grizzlies keep winning. And then you play Chicago, which is the best in the East. And this would be a defining stretch. It's already the longest winning streak in the team's history. But what a defining stretch it would mean.
Well, if you win all those games, I'm not going to put it past them. I mean, you know, you're going to be without Dillon Brooks for another 4 or 5 weeks or so with that ankle injury that he suffered. That's tough for Dillon, but this has been a plug and play team. Whoever they plug in plays and plays well. And, you know, they've had some guys come back from COVID. Steven Adams will be back in a little bit here. I don't know if he'll be back for Monday's game. It'd be great if he'd be back against Dallas, but I kind of doubt that. You know, Dallas is playing really well, and they have beat Grizzlies here in Memphis, but it took them a last-second shot to do it. Luka Doncic is a really good player, but they don't know if they're going to have Porzingis or whoever else it is that they really need to play well. No, this Memphis team, the way it's constructed, it has pieces everywhere. And don't forget, Jaren Jackson Jr. means on the defensive end what John Morant has meant on the offensive end. I mean, blocking shots, he's getting rebounds, he's making good plays, he's finding players open. And, it's just been a plug-and-play bonanza for the Grizzlies. It's just been incredible.
Well, with Steven Adams out, he's had the rebound. He had 11 rebounds, had a double-double last night. That was pretty impressive. It is strange, since you mentioned it, you know, who knows what goes into all the protocols, but with injury and protocol, I can't remember the last time the Grizzlies had a full roster. I do remember the last time the Memphis Tigers, who will play tonight in Orlando, the last time they had a full roster, and even with Rasheed Wallace, who, by the way, is still in protocol, the last time Memphis had a full roster at their disposal was 6 weeks ago. That's crazy. And the Grizzlies, I mean, Darko Rajakovic, how did he become? That's the third head coach in this stretch.
It's like they keep going down the roster, man. As long as this buzz keeps going around to everybody, you know, you just got whoever's there ready to go, and whoever's been ready to go has gone and done extremely well. So I don't know, where it's going to end. And for the Tigers, you hope that eventually they'll be able to have everybody back and can play at the same time. And hold on one second. Every time that they go out and play, they say, well, who's going to play this game? You know, is it like that roster? That injury report that Penny came out with before the Cincinnati game was just incredible. It's like, well, more than half the team has a possibility of not playing. But then they come out and they show out like you want them to play. we just got to hope that continues and that, Earl Timberlake comes back on his concussion okay. And, eventually you get Chandler Lawson back. And then all these people are saying, well, the less they play, if he's got more players, he's going to play them, that's going to ruin. But you still want to have all your quivers, all your arrows in the quiver, right? You still want to have them there available to play if you need it.
Well,
so, there's still no telling how good this Memphis Tigers can be. There's still no telling that. And let's hope they put together another solid effort tonight down at UCF.
I hope that is the case. That is for sure. And honestly, again, a quad one opportunity. That would be 4 quad one wins. And you're right. I mean, you don't need a full roster, honestly. As long as you continue to get past this stretch, you don't need one until March when it's time to play in the conference tournament and when it's time to play in the NCAAs. And at this point, that seems like a good possibility for sure. Jarvis, as always, we appreciate it. We'll be watching you on Action News 5. Thank you, my friend.
Okay, thanks, Dave. Appreciate it. Have a good call tonight.
I will try, I promise. That is Jarvis Greer. We thank Stats. That is for sure. Should be fun tonight, honestly. This Orlando team, this UCF team, they beat Miami. They beat Michigan. They're in a bit of a skid. Let's hope Memphis can take advantage of that. I'll see you in studio tomorrow. Johnny Radio is next. Have a great day, everyone.
For years, I have talked to you about James Davis, the finest men's store in all of Memphis, the service, the selection, everything that goes with quality. And I've told you recently about the Stant Perfect Fit shirts. Well, now there's the Stant Perfect Fit pants. Absolutely amazing. Only 2 measurements fed into a computer, and all of a sudden, you've got the perfect fit pants. I'm talking everywhere. The leg, the seat, the bottom,